Welcome to the Broadway Podcast, the musical theater history podcast where a couple of doctors sit around and talk about Broadway. I'm your co-host, Dr. Kristin Stultz Pressley, joined as always by Dr. Tracey Brent-Chessum. Tracey, we have another movie to talk about today, and another film adaptation. So which one is it this time?
Late 80s, early 90s kids.
That's right.
Classic. You know, Gen X, millennials. This is your baby. So
that's right.
Today we're talking about the great Mrs. Doubtfire, which is based on that 1993 film by, starring Robin Williams, the great Robin Williams, who was just so amazing. Like, he was with every year, I appreciate his talent even more. And its staying power and just how much he had in him. That was a gift. That was a special performer right there.
Oh, no doubt about it. And the impact that he's had. You know, how many modern performers mention him as an inspiration for them, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, he truly was one of a kind. What I did not know about this film, I knew it was successful. Obviously, I was 15, I guess, when it came out. I remember it very, very well. It starred Sally Field. I loved her in Gidget.
Me too.
Loved that show. Well, you grew up in Southern California, so it had to feel real close to home.
Arsenio is showing again.
So I was a big fan for a number of reasons. What I did not know is that movie made almost $500 million. I think it was $441 million.
It was very successful. In a way that they had massive. They had no way to quantify. They were like, whoa, this is not what we expected this to do.
Right. So if you adjust that $441 million that it made at the box office to modern money, it's over $1 billion that this film made. I mean, that really puts it in rare air and shows you how enormously popular this film was.
It was.
So, of course, naturally, when you have a film entity, especially in this day and age, that made over $1 billion, the modern equivalent of $1 billion, somebody's going to turn that baby into a musical. And
I'm surprised it took this long.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. So I wonder, Tracey, you've said before on this podcast that certain things just sing for you. I wonder, I'm putting you on the spot here. Are there other movies that have not yet been adapted that you think, man, how have they missed this one? This one should be next. Are there any
things? This is going to seem really weird. Do you remember Batteries Not Included?
Yes, I do.
I don't know why that one. I've always been like, I just keep waiting for Batteries Not Included, and I know that it will never be made. But I just think it would be a really interesting, like, half techie, half anyway.
That is interesting, especially given, you know, as the world becomes increasingly technological.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
It's random is what it is. It's insane.
I'm going to call it interesting.
Okay, you call it interesting. Oh gosh, what else from that era? I'm just trying to think.
I know.
What I saw and what
So many of them have been done, you know?
Well, yeah, they seem to pick up on the ones that, that would work, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Batteries Included would ever really work except in my head. But,
right.
Yeah.
You know what seems to me, as I think about it, it just popped into my head, is Mannequin. You remember that one with Andrew McCarthy and Kim Cattrall? And,
no, I didn't.
No, did not see that one. Okay.
Did not see that one.
No, it is awesome. Andrew McCarthy is this, and he, of course, was at the height of his Brat Packer status at that moment. Kim Cattrall, kind of came out of nowhere for that one. Mm-hmm. She certainly, this was pre-Sex in the City, so she was not a household name like she would eventually become as a result of that show. But he is a mannequin artist or something. And he, at this big department store, kind of like a Saks Fifth Avenue department store, although I don't think it is Saks, but it's modeled on a store like that. And he falls in love with this mannequin that he dresses, and she comes to life. And they have all these escapades in the department store after hours. And
wait, but isn't that just Sondheim has one like that too?
Does he? I don't know.
Oh, it's like, it's that weird little one. Oh, gosh, I forget what it's called. But yeah, she comes to life in this, like, all the mannequins come to life and they, like, run around in the department store.
Are you kidding?
It's really weird. What is that one called?
I don't know. I'm totally not familiar with this. And so that makes me wonder if maybe that informed the movie. If it was pre-1987 when the movie came out, maybe that informed the movie. It's
Evening Primrose.
I have heard of that, but I had no idea what it was about. But I do know that
like
title.
It was just a television musical.
Okay.
And it's all in really grainy black and white. And
okay.
Stars,
when did it come out?
The girl that played Liesl in The Sound of Music.
Not Kim Cartwright. What is that girl's name? She's so beautiful. Something Carr, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I would know it if I saw it.
Charmaine,
that's right.
Yeah. It was 1966. So it's really, that's pretty early.
I wonder if they're connected
and
in some way.
Y'all, it's creepy.
Is it?
Oh, it's
Mannequin's not. Mannequin's awesome.
No, it's creepy.
But that kind of, think about that. It seems like there could be a lot of musical moments with a mannequin that comes to life in a department store in the middle of the night. Like, that seems rife for a production number to me, right? I mean, truly. And then,
if they're going to do Beetlejuice, they can do a mannequin.
Why not? Why not mannequin? Why not mannequin?
I also keep waiting for Edward Scissorhands, and I think that's probably coming.
Probably.
Beetlejuice is actually doing pretty well, so that's hot on its heel.
Yes,
hot on its heel.
Another Tim Burton property. Yeah, absolutely. Others,
but the stuff. The funny thing about the '90s is there were some good kind of comedies, but the ones that really were the big budget movies were all sci-fi. And sci-fi is really hard, especially if there's fandom sci-fi kind of stuff. It's really hard to do.
Yeah. Note Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark.
Yeah. Yes. For those reasons. But it's we can't really do Jurassic Park on stage, even though totally rife for musicality. In my opinion.
Right.
Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, Terminator 2, Independence Day.
Yeah.
Those are big names of this era.
You have to have the cinematic magic for that because
and this is where they start redoing all the Star Trek movies and stuff like that. And it's because they finally had the technical prowess to do
That's right.
We've seen Back to the Future done that way, but Back to the Future had a heart that was very different than Independence Day.
That's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
The ones that are making all of the movies. Here's another one. Home Alone.
Oh, gosh.
Why have we not made a Christmas musical?
Oh, that's such a good point.
Specifically on Home Alone.
That is such a good point. You know what else would make a great... Well, you're talking John Hughes. What about Breakfast Club? Why isn't that a musical?
Yeah, why isn't that a musical?
That would be a great musical. So many of those John Hughes, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink. Gosh, I ate those for lunch. I loved them so much.
Men in Black.
Yeah, no.
Nope. Now I'm just looking things up. But you can't do Twister. Twister should stay on film.
No, absolutely.
But Home Alone?
Yeah.
Do it. Why don't we have Pretty Woman?
We do have Pretty Woman.
We do. And it flopped, didn't it?
It was a pretty significant flop. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad. But look at this.
But I will tell you, I saw Pretty Woman and loved it. I loved Pretty Woman. I thought it was fantastic.
The Bodyguard has been done, but I don't think ever went to Broadway. But
No,
it
didn't.
Tour.
It toured. Yes, it toured. I think it was one that started in the UK. And then it toured the U.S., if I'm not mistaken. It's been years since I've spoken about that one. But
Notting Hill.
Yeah. Maybe.
Apollo
I know
13.
they're making a Princess Bride musical.
Oh, good.
I'm curious how that one will play out because there's so many different, settings in that one.
Yeah.
That seems like it would be tricky to take on, but someone has taken it on. So anyway, I just was curious if there was anything in particular that you were like, well, daggone it, if they're going to make that into a movie, why not make this?
Well, but look what I came up with. Batteries not included. That's what I want. I had to consult a list. That is what I would do. This is why I'm not a producer.
Well, so same. You know. I think mannequin. I'm like, that's a great setup right there.
Do not get advice from us when you're starting to
Remember, I'm the girl who told her dad not to invest in the 2009 revival of West Side Story. Do not take business advice from me.
Well, yeah, and I would have told you that something like Paddington. Sean Nyberg was on the podcast.
That's right.
And he and his partner were one set of producers on
Paddington the musical.
Paddington, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm still talking about it weeks after I heard it. I just love it.
Yes. Oh, those movies. Have y'all seen the movies yet? The Paddington movies.
I had to download it for my children.
They are the
who
best.
Now, this is my favorite thing in the world. They think the mean lady in the first movie, is Nicole Kidman. We know Nicole Kidman as like the heroine of heroin, siren kind of like.
Yes.
They think she's the bad mean lady.
She is bad
and
mean.
That is how they have cast her in their mind. And I don't think they'll ever be the same. But I was like, Caroline said that to me the other day. She goes, the mean lady is Nicole Kidman. And I'm not sure how you feel about that. I'm not sure how she feels about that in her career. But she is now the villain.
Yes. and she does it well.
And she does it well.
In Paddington 2, they have Hugh Grant. And I think that one starts and ends with a musical number. Like the musical number at the end of Paddington 2 with Hugh Grant in prison singing it is top notch.
Oh, I vaguely remember this.
That might
so now
be
I have to get that one from my kiddos.
You got to get it. It is so good. And then the third Paddington, I mean, each one is better than the last. Like it is so unusual for a trilogy for the subsequent for the subsequent iterations of the story to be better than the prior. But I swear Paddington has somehow done it. And we go, when Paddington, the first one, was one of the very first movies my children saw in a theater. They were like 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. And then we've seen each one of them. And then I think Paddington 3 came out and they were probably 11 and 12 or maybe even 12 and 13. And they were both like, we gotta go, let's go. I mean, it is a foregone conclusion. We're seeing the Paddingtons. We gotta see what's gonna happen
to this bear.
They are so good. So good. So I'm thrilled to see. Yes, that one's in London. I would anticipate that it will make it here. And I'm sure when it does, so. our buddy Sean will come back and talk to us more about it.
It is very, I mean, I have 3-year-olds who are like, can we go to London? And I'm like...
Yeah.
Well,
why not?
Sure.
Write it off, Tracy. You're a musical theater history professor.
I'm a musical theater history professor. I don't make enough money to even write things off yet anymore. Like that's not happening. So yeah, that's their new thing is they want to do that for their birthday.
Well, and I think they should. You tell
they
those
are
girls
3.
I am on their side. But 4's a big year. Yes, 4 is a big year.
But I would love for you to then come on the plane and escort them across the pond for 8 hours sitting there. We'll see what happens.
Be sure you download all 3 Paddington movies.
There we go, yeah.
And they can watch them one right after another so that they're ready for the show.
I can't tell you how much they're getting so good at like the skill of the argumentation, because not only was it, well, we could go see Paddington and we could see Big Ben. It's in Paddington and Peter Pan.
See?
And there are double-decker buses. There are red buses from my book about London. And she's going on and on about all these things that she knows about London. And I'm like, okay.
It makes you proud. It makes you proud.
But she's just like, we're not just going to, she's 3. We're not going to see Paddington. We've got to see all these other things too.
You've got a salesman there. I love it. I love it. All right.
Anyway,
so
we're talking
Paddington is obviously
not Paddington, Mrs. Doubtfire.
It's Mrs. Doubtfire today, right? All right, so let's talk about Mrs. Doubtfire.
Okay.
So the Mrs. Doubtfire is announced, the musical adaptation. The movie premieres 1993. 20 years later, 2013, it's announced that it will be adapted, right?
And I remember hearing that too and going, perfect, yes, get it out.
Yes, of course. And the man who makes it all happen is a producer named Kevin McCollum. And McCollum's been around Broadway in a massive way for a long time. He was one of the producers of Rent and really was integral in getting that off the ground. Avenue Q he produced, Six he produced. He's been around a long time and done some incredible things. He found, Mrs. Doubtfire, like Tracey and I, as we've discussed, it's tailor-made for a musical, right? And so in 2013, he inks a deal to develop a series of musicals for 20th Century Fox. Remember, this is the era of movie adaptations. And so he's attaching himself to one particular movie studio and going through their catalog and saying, okay, what of this sings and what doesn't sing. And so as soon as he signs on for this, he picks up Mrs. Doubtfire and says, I'm going to run with this one. And he gets to work. And the composer he pulls in is Alan Menken, who, of course, is best known for his work with Disney. Mm-hmm. Well, he started out with Little Shop of Horrors off Broadway, which he co-wrote with the lyricist Howard Ashman. But then he does Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and all that Disney Renaissance stuff. Bam, 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 bam is Alan Menken, composer. The lyricist he brings in is David Zippel, who'd written City of Angels, which was on Broadway in the was it early 90s? Late 90s? 90s, let's say.
And aren't there two versions of that?
I don't think so, but there might be. I'm not familiar with the second.
There's two shows that are very similar.
Maybe.
I'll have to go back and look it up.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me. My brain.
Yeah, well, and you may be right. I just don't know. I know that score, but I know that the music is Cy Coleman. I know the score because I love the music and I love the lyrics, but I don't know the show. I've never seen the show.
No, I guess you're right. There's only one. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Don't listen to me.
Well, but that was that time period when there were...
Trust but verify.
But that was that time period when people were like, oh, you're going to do that? Well, I'm going to do that. We have the two wild parties in the, around that time period, not too far after that. And then, so with composer Alan Menken, lyricist David Zippel, we have librettist Harvey Fierstein, who's written the libretto for La Cage aux Folles and Kiki Boots and a number of other things. His own plays the Torch Song trilogy. And notably, he's in the film Mrs. Doubtfire, right? He figures very prominently in that film.
And he's so iconic. Like, he's very recognizable, even if you don't remember the name.
Right.
Harvey Fierstein.
Yeah, think Hairspray.
Hairspray on Broadway.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a guy you would know. And if you wouldn't know him, you would recognize his voice. Very deep and very gravelly. He's a presence and an enormous talent. So at any rate, that trio with producer Kevin McCollum, they worked for a couple of years. And then after 2 years, they decide they're going to take what they call a creative hiatus. Now, at this same time, they're all working on other projects, right? There's always things happening. McCollum in particular was also producing Something Rotten. Now, if you think I want to see Boop because it looks hilarious, let me tell you how hard I laughed at Something Rotten. I love this show, which should surprise absolutely no one. No one. I love this show. I think it is hilarious.
I howled. I thought it was really funny.
It is awesome. It is so funny.
It's so silly. Like,
it is ridiculously
so
stupid.
Perfect,
It is perfect. It is so fun. But it's music and lyrics by the brothers Wayne and Carrie Kirkpatrick. It has a libretto by Carrie Kirkpatrick and a collaborator named John O'Farrell. Now, McCollum had actually met Carrie Kirkpatrick in the mid-1980s. They both performed at Walt Disney World and became friendly then. So just after Rent opens in 1996, McCollum invites Wayne and Carrie, who, by the way, were songwriters. They wrote a number of Christian contemporary songs in particular. They wrote a lot for Amy Grant.
And then crossed over and into the kind of,
Yeah, they're big time songwriters. So they had it wasn't like they were just like hangers on. They were artists who were working a lot in their own right.
They're like, we've said this in other episodes, they were very much like story songwriters. Like, there's a whole story in there. So, like, you knew there was something theatrical about, like, very theatrical,
absolutely.
their writing, and it's why it resonates with people.
Yeah, for sure. So in 1996, when Rent opens, McCollum invites them to come and see the show. They go see the show, and then afterwards they go out to dinner. And there, in 1996, the Kirkpatrick brothers give McCollum the idea for Something Rotten. That's 1996.
So 20 years before it actually opens.
Yeah, a full 20 years to show you how slowly the wheels of Broadway can turn. Of course, it opens 2015 in April and is nominated for the Best Musical Tony Award, which it deserved. So at any rate, McCollum, who has this relationship with the creative team of Something Rotten, which is just premiered on Broadway, McCollum decides he can't keep waiting on Menken and Zippel and Firestein to come to terms on the project for Mrs. Doubtfire. So he decides he's going to work on something else with the Kirkpatrick brothers. They had a really successful collaboration on Something Rotten. They were friends from way back, with McCollum and Cara Kirkpatrick working together at Disney. And so he's going to work with them and John O'Farrell again. And he then offers them their choice of potential shows from the Fox film catalog, because he's under contract to produce several of them. So the creative team of the Kirkpatrick brothers and John O'Farrell have 10 children among the three of them. And so the idea of a dad who will do anything to be with his children resonated with these three guys very loudly. And so they chose Mrs. Doubtfire. And I have not read exactly how all the relationships with Menken and Zippel and Firestein were broken. I don't know. It probably was a mutually agreed upon parting of the ways. But for however it happened, the original creative team ceases to be the creative team, and the Something Rotten creative team gets to work on Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, the story of Mrs. Doubtfire is actually based on a young adult novel by an English writer named Anna Fine. I had no idea about that. I just assumed in 1993, which shows you how much research I did in 1993. I just assumed that it was a movie, right? Somebody wrote a script and it became a movie, but that's not the case at all. It was a book published in 1987, a young adult novel in particular. It was called Madame Doubtfire.
And that happened fast.
Yeah, 1987. That's right.
And
That's
you have
right.
to be in production 2 years. That happened quick.
It did happen very quickly. In the U.S., it was published as Alias Madame Doubtfire. It's very, very popular. And in fact is nominated for several awards: the Guardian Children's Fiction Prize, the Whitbread Children's Book Award. A critic for the New York Times named Mark Geller called it sweet and amusing and said, "I can't imagine anyone not enjoying it." So, if you want to learn more about I hope I say it correctly, Euphigenia Doubtfire. Is that how Euphigenia? You can learn all you want to know about her backstory in Alias Madame Doubtfire by Anna Fine. Well, of course, as we've already said, the film premieres in 1993. It makes the modern equivalent of $1 billion and is the highest grossing comedy of the year. I don't know. I should look this up real quickly. In fact, I'm going to do that, because what is the highest grossing film? If they specify comedy to say Mrs. Doubtfire
was there.
Yeah, what is the highest grossing film of 1993? So I should have done that sooner. Jurassic Park. Well, there you go.
You can't.
Okay, that makes sense.
Jurassic Park was, it was very cool.
Yes. And
we had never seen anything like that.
Yes.
And it was, there's no way that anything really stomps on that.
No. Let me do this quick math real fast, because I gotta know.
You're doing your calculator.
I am doing my calculating. So if Mrs. Doubtfire made the modern equivalent of $1 billion, Jurassic Park makes the modern equivalent of $2.2 billion. Yeah, so it doubles the money. Huge. Yeah, doubles the money. I never saw it.
What?
Never. I've still never seen it.
What?
Nope, never seen it. No interest.
You have boys.
I know.
House.
I know. I need to show them. I literally just thought I should show that to the boys. They might like it. But I had no interest when it came out, and I had not thought about it until just this very moment.
I hadn't thought about it too much either, because I never liked anything that had a lot of hype. But somebody was like, hey, let's go see it. We live next to the biggest theater, like, that's not an IMAX in America. It had, like, a speaker under every seat. And what I remember about that experience is that when the T-Rex started walking from a long runway away, your whole seat shook. Oh, and I just remember being like,
is he behind me?
Okay, that one, and, oh gosh, what was it called? The World War II.
Saving Private Ryan?
Saving Private, both of those were kind of film experiences that were just so real.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I always like look back on those like great film, watching. It's Jurassic Park and Saving Private Ryan, because I had a pager then. We didn't have a cell phone, but I had a pager. And it went off while they were storming the beach. I jumped out of my seat. And I'm like, I'm thinking there's a bomb in my pocket. And I was like...
Okay, tell the people who maybe aren't as old as we are what a pager is.
So
what's a pager, Tracey?
Okay, so doctors used to have, this is like pre-cell phone, right? It's the step right before the cell phone, where you, basically you had this little thing and
it looked like an insulin pump, like a modern equivalent of an insulin pump. That's what it looked like.
It lived in your little pocket, and it had a little screen just on the top. And you would call the number. Yeah, you would call the number for it. And it would say, you've reached this person's pager. Please leave your number. And you'd put your number in. And I mean, we had everybody's number memorized. We didn't have, like, now I have no numbers memorized.
Now I couldn't call a person if I lost my phone.
I would just be lost. Like, I'd never speak to people ever again. It would just be sad. But yeah, you knew everybody's phone number. And if they needed to get a hold of you, they would just leave their number there. And you knew to call them, when you got where, That's what we did the step before cell phones. Before that, someone had to leave you a message on your answering machine.
Yes, or with your parents, and you hoped your parents remembered to tell you about the message.
To tell you what was happening. Yes. Yeah. No, I had a pager because I was doing tons of theater, and it was just like something was happening that would require my presence here, there, and everywhere. And so it was just very convenient at that point. But well, weird and it is hilarious 1990s. I had
it really is. In my pocket. It really is. It really is a pager. That's not something I have thought about in a long time.
It was the first little thing that buzzed, though. That was the other thing.
In your pocket, it would have like the little external one little baby, like a couple of dots in it. Yeah. So you could have, that was the speaker.
But it would buzz to tell you that you had a page. Yeah, you had a page. Yep. Those were the days. Those were the days. Moving on.
Alrighty. So
let's count how many bunny trails we get on in this episode. Okay.
But this episode is not just about Mrs. Doubtfire. It's about living in the 90s, right?
I think most of these episodes have been about
We're capturing historical context, right?
Yes, we are.
It's not just, you don't just get show information on the Dr. Broadway podcast. You get to experience what it was like to be there.
Exactly.
All right. So, highest grossing comedy of the year. Obviously, Jurassic Park was the highest grossing film of the year. And then we get back to our discussion of the musical being developed. So when they took on this project, the film was very deeply ingrained in that late 80s, early 90s. I'm sure somebody in that film had a pager on, is what I'm saying. Yes. And so they decided they were going to update the timeline of the show as they developed it. One of the earliest decisions that they made. Yeah, and the reason for that, we see that a lot. Like Tootsie did the same thing. By the way, if you haven't seen Tootsie, it is hilarious. I mean, let me tell you about when I saw Tootsie.
Bunny Trail 472.
Well, this will be a little short one, but we saw, my dad and I were in New York. I was researching for my Dorothy Fields book. He happened to go for work. So we were seeing shows together at night and working separately during the day. And one night we saw The Prom and the next night we saw Tootsie. And that is euphoria. In terms of theater going for me, The Prom and Tootsie.
Love it.
That back to back. Oh my gosh. hilarious. Of course, Robert Horn wrote that book. Has nothing to do with anything other than something made me think of that. So yeah, they are updating these books. Many of them need to be updated. Right. And what it does, and this is why they did it, is it allowed the creators to talk about contemporary issues, right? And to not try to make it kind of a pastiche of the 90s, but rather let's see how would these characters live and breathe in 2019, right?
Well, I mean, family law, it's all about
that's right.
Family
Absolutely.
law. Family law is still, it still has its ups and downs in our society.
Absolutely. So they update the timeline and they do a lot of the development and get it ready. And it premieres in December of 2019 at Seattle's Fifth Avenue Theater. Now, that may sound familiar.
We know someone from
Where
there.
have we heard that before, Tracy?
Well, there was this guy on our podcast named David Armstrong.
That's right.
And he came and talked about his really, really great musical theater history book.
That's right.
That has a very, very long title, but it starts with Broadway Nation because it's sitting on my bookshelf right over there.
Yep. It's a great one.
It's very good. Again, another plug for Broadway Nation.
That's right. Another plug for Broadway Nation. But this theater, if that title or if the name of that theater sounds familiar, they've sent a number of shows to Broadway, but this is another one that they sent to Broadway. Now, he was not actively the artistic director at this moment, but he was still involved there. And so, Seattle is where we have the world premiere of Mrs. Doubtfire. The plan was to move to Broadway in the spring of 2020. Rob McClure was the lead. He played Euphigenia Doubtfire. Yeah. Interestingly, McClure had also for a time played the lead in Something Rotten. So he had a relationship with these creators and they were keen to work with him again. Actually, I saw McClure when I saw Something Rotten the first time. It was with him and he was outstanding. Absolutely. I think his wife was playing opposite him at the time. It was on tour and they were fantastic, both of them. But at any rate, it opens its previews spring of 2020, March 9th to be particular.
So 3 days.
3 days before the shutdown. So it plays 3 previews. Luck. It is such bad luck.
That's awful.
Such bad luck. But it's not the only show. I mean, remember when we talked about Six? The creators of Six were in a cab on the way to opening night for Six when they.
But Six had more previews.
They were opening. Yes,
because we saw it then.
That's right.
I think on March 5th, 4th.
Yes, that sounds about right. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, this was just outside. I think we went home on the 9th, and that's why we missed.
Didn't see it.
We missed. Mrs. Doubtfire, but
yeah. So it starts previews March 9th. Of course, it has 2. Well, I guess it would have had technically 3, the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th. 3 nights of previews before it has to shut down for COVID. And then it doesn't officially open until December of 2021. Imagine the trauma that does to a show. We've talked about this multiple times because you've got cast members who can stick around. You've got cast members who have to be replaced because they have to do something else to support themselves. So it's deeply traumatic to go from the core group that created a show and then to try to replace them and then not get to take part in the opening of it.
Yeah, and nobody really knew how long it was going to take. So it was like, okay, well, I'll just hang around for a little bit. And then it was like when it went on and on and on and things weren't opening and it was going to take another almost a year and a half to get something open. Like people started moving out of New York because they couldn't afford it anymore. Like I can't keep my apartment. Like
that's right.
So they ended up all over the country, and then it's like, okay, are you available? Well, now I'm in Florida. Now I'm in wherever it is that I'm in.
Right.
Trying to survive, and it's also just like it just takes the wind out of your sails.
Yes.
If you can't really open. Yeah.
Yep. No doubt. You have all this momentum.
And they just kept it in the theater, right? Like they just waited until it could open.
I don't know about that.
Did they have to switch theaters?
I don't think they switched theaters, but I would not swear to that. But as far as did they leave, sets and things in the theater for all of those theaters? I don't know.
They just it all just kind of sat there for a while.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. So at any rate, it eventually opens December 2021. It runs through the holiday, really. I would imagine that they opened it strategically so that they could run through Christmas, try to get that holiday tourist push, and then anticipating, first of all, the dip in tourism that inevitably happens post-Christmas in New York, as well as the complicating factor of COVID, when every actor had to be tested every day or something like it, and
the protocols were
a
lot
severe. So if you didn't have a show that was already running like a well-oiled machine, then you probably weren't going to make it real long. So they tried to circumvent that by trying to get a big boost by running through Christmas season with all the tourists. Not that there were all the tourists in 2021, but and then they reopened. They closed January 9th and then reopened April 22nd and run for 6 weeks. I mean, it just did not.
And this is a victim of.
It really is the timing, a victim of timing. It's nominated for 1 Tony, which it doesn't win.
Yeah, and it's just they know, they're like, we're opening because we might get some tickets going here, or else we're going to have to vacate the theater, but we're not going to make it in the next 3 months, so just shut down.
Yeah, you can't keep bleeding money.
And then you have to think about the contracts there, because equity doesn't let you, do a show for a month, and then lay everybody off for 3 months, and then, bring them back. So how they manage that, there's so much going on in the background just to try to get things up on its feet, and it's just a victim of timing at that point.
And it is, and so it's one of those shows, and we've talked about this before, that decides, rather than bleed money on Broadway, we're going to recoup our investment on the road. And so that's exactly what they have done, and I think it's very popular.
Close?
I don't know about that, but probably
I wouldn't be surprised. The thing that people say about this particular show, because obviously it doesn't run very long on Broadway, you don't have the big, push on it in social media and that kind of thing. But it is a name, and it's a good name for touring, because
that's absolutely right.
Obviously, when people are looking to see theater, they're usually buying the season, and they're like, "Ooh, I know these names."
That's right.
So that's right. The interesting thing that this particular show falls into is I think a very unique place with specifically movie musicals. Movie musicals, there's a version, and not all movie musicals, but a good portion of them, people tend to describe them as, that was great. I had a great time, followed the movie, totally tracked, it was great. But I didn't leave, humming anything.
The songs, yeah.
The songs have to be so much more integrated into dialogue-esque. Have to do a lot more functioning dialogue-wise in a movie musical in order to fit it in the allotted amount of time.
That's a great point, yeah.
Then, most shows that are kind of written
for the stage
or going the opposite direction, that they do tend to have good songs. They fit the moment. It's perfect. I'm thinking of Mean Girls, the musical. You go, you see it. I'm this perfect, you don't leave singing any of those songs.
Right.
You don't leave humming them. They're not big standards that, people get behind and want to belt. And it's not because they aren't good, but it's because they're doing too much narrative work.
That is such a good point. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Yeah.
And this is one of those shows. Lots and lots of people saying, I thought it was a great show. I got a lot out of it. This is wonderful, but very much I don't remember any of the music when I'm leaving, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that movies do a lot of narrative work in a short amount of time, and we're having to do that too, but with music. Yeah. And we can't have those pull-out moments and tell all that story in the same amount of time, because to do it like a real musical, we're going to have to lengthen it out so that we can pull characters away from the action and have them sing their little song, right? About how they're feeling or what they're doing and why they're feeling that way, when usually it's done with the acting and with camera angles and editing and that kind of stuff, when you get that like inciting incident.
Yeah.
Narratively, the songs have to do a lot more work. And because of that, they're not very standalone. It's not standalone music anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point. And because I'm not interacting with students in the same way that you are, I don't know the repertoire that kids are bringing in. And I would assume a lot of these don't produce repertoire.
They don't really. I mean, we're going to do Legally Blonde here in a little bit. And Legally Blonde is an exception and not an exception to this, to this kind of caveat here. Whereas you've got maybe one song that you could pull out from it, but that's about it. The title song, everything else is like 7 minutes long. Like, I mean, we just did Legally Blonde, and the songs are 7 minutes long. Like 7 minute, high impact, moving from scene to scene, from place to place, in like 7 to 8 minutes, because we have to keep the story moving. There's not time for an alphabet to stop and sing Defying Gravity.
Right.
Or The Wizard and I. Like, we don't have any of that time, or else we're going to make this a 3-hour show. And we know we can't do that. Right. So a lot of them are like this.
Yeah. So, and what Tracy's saying is that because films are already 2 hours of material, narrative material, shows that are built to be musicals from the beginning, you build in like a character song, right? And I want, that kind of thing. And that's built in. We use less time telling the story, which gives us more time for specialty songs that can be pulled out and used for audition pieces or used for whatever.
Yeah.
And with these movies, there's expectations from the audience that we have certain elements of the story, and so that takes up time, and so we lose time to do what musicals that are all original have the time to do.
Yeah. I mean, it takes, you kind of get one or the other. I don't know. I mean, it's really funny, but we're hearing that more and more, and I don't think that's probably going to go away. It's just that, it's
that
a
makes
different
sense,
field.
and I'd never thought of it.
Yeah, but the problem is that the musical theater community doesn't love that, and so when you get critics talking about it, they are usually very much like, well, it wasn't memorable, it wasn't this, it wasn't, and it's not that it wasn't memorable. It was that there's no song to sing during a showcase. Right? There's no I Want song, because they don't need the I Want song, because it's integrated into the
we know what they want, right? We know the setup going in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's really, I hadn't thought of that.
Again, and I think I just tend to be this person on our podcast. Like, don't read just one review, and don't always believe them. Like, they are coming from a very narrow point of view, and that's their job. Like, they should be doing that. I learned tons from watching different critics coming from different viewpoints talking about the same show. Like, we learn tons that way. But when it comes to deciding to go and like enjoy a show like that, you're gonna have a great time. This is a great show. I mean, it's a great show. It does have good music. It's not like you're sitting there going, wow, this is terrible. It's not like that. It's just that you don't leave humming a title song or something. Doesn't mean that it's not incredible work throughout and well integrated. These are I think we're going to study these structurally more as kind of hyper integrated musicals, because the music is so integrated into the storyline in a way that we have never done before. So I think it's going to be fun to kind of look back on some of these. They don't serve for audition pieces, but most people don't need that.
Right. I'm not auditioning for anything.
I'm not. Right. Yeah. So I don't need it to have that.
Right. And as it pertains to critics, remember that critics hated Wicked.
Yeah.
And Mamma Mia. And Mamma Mia. Remember those. They hated them.
Critics don't. Yeah. I mean, you just, you don't know what they're going to do. And they don't, sometimes you just kind of go, huh? Well, we got that really, really wrong. Like, you have to go and decide for yourself.
Yeah. And you will be entertained.
Yeah, especially if there's any sort of hedging going on in a review. It's like, well, it had some good points, but I'm going to focus on this one thing that I didn't like and make it sound like it's a disaster. Those are always indicative of, I had a good time at the theater, but I have to write this article.
Because I'm a curmudgeon-y critic.
Well, no, just because I'm a critic and I have to say something about it. Yes. And this is the only thing I can really say. Because I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is the best musical I've ever seen. Because it's probably not. But that doesn't mean... I enjoy tons of musicals that are not the best written things ever. Right. It doesn't really matter when it comes to that. If you like the storyline of Mrs. Doubtfire, you're going to like the musical.
Right, no doubt.
Yeah. But we all know that it hedges on that title star too.
So, no doubt about it. Yep. And Rob McClure can pull that off. You know, it was what's that guy's name who did Tootsie? Santino. He's the guy.
Santino
Fontana?
Yes, something like that. But he's
one of the
Frozen.
Princes. Yes.
He's the bad guy in Frozen. What's his name? Hans. He's Prince Hans.
Finishes each other's sandwiches. Yeah, that's
Prince
that guy.
Hans of the Southern Isles.
But he was, he was a force in Tootsie. He was fantastic. He worked on it for years, was part of it from the beginning, in the same way McClure was with Mrs. Doubtfire. Those are hard roles to replace. Beetlejuice would be the same way with Alex Brightman, right? Now they did, the guy I saw on tour with Beetlejuice did great. Mm-hmm. So they were able to find somebody, and I know that they have with Mrs. Doubtfire as well. But those are big shoes to fill. Those are big roles, and the show really rises and falls on the shoulders of those leading stars. No doubt about it.
Yep.
No doubt about it. All right. Anything else we got for this one?
No, go see it. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's
you really
fun.
will.
It's fun. The one thing that I would say is just about, and we've alluded to this before, but I want to bring it up again here, is we're not far enough away removed from this show to have a lot to say about it as far as historically, right? We need more time to kind of fit it into its place, to see how it does on the road, to see if it, all of these things are questions still to be answered with this show. So that's why this is a shorter episode. When the more contemporary the musical, the more recently it premiered on Broadway, the less we'll probably have to say about it, because the less there is to say about it. We just don't know. So we can make educated assumptions and educated prognostications, but we don't know yet. And so this is one where it's a shorter episode, but it's owed to the fact that this is a really recent addition to the canon of musical theater. And so there's less to be said about it until it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
All right. So on that note, that'll do it for this episode of the Dr. Broadway podcast. Tune in for our next episode when we'll be discussing The Who's Tommy from 1993, taking it way back. Until then, I'm going to have things to say about the 90s then. Until then, connect with us via email at hello@drbroadway.com or on Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok at Dr. Bway Podcast.